first video lesson of series of video lessons that you're going to watch throughout the whole course, which will aid your overall learning experience. And in the first three video lessons that you will watch this week, I want to concentrate on my personal experience and three lessons I learned from the beginning of my teaching career. I call these video lessons three essential insights of a rookie teacher. After maybe half a year of teaching, I really reconsidered my role as an educator, as a teacher, as a tutor, because I realized that people don't hire tutors for knowledge, which is very easily accessible now, but they hire tutors, they go to language schools, they use the applications or something like that for guidance, feedback, and discipline. Uh, when you understand that, uh, you actually you realize where you should start from when you are thinking. I mean, what do I learn? What do I read? What is teaching? What does it consist of? Of course, things as classroom management, uh, error correction, or knowing grammar, presenting grammar, um, and stuff like that. Very important. It's very crucial. This is actually the major part of your teaching daily work routine. But it this is all not important if you don't understand your role. And nowadays, a role of a tutor is actually, I put it in three layers, three levels of tutor-student relationship. First one is obvious. You conduct lessons, you explain the language, you give feedback. This is what most people think of that they're paying for, or most teachers think that they are doing. The second level, the second layer, is what comes eventually, maybe not from the first lesson, but you understand that you actually have to motivate a student. You need to find ways of motivating a particular student. You need to build discipline. You need to think of form of punishment and appreciation on what students do or don't do, and observing progress and actually making some conclusions based on that. What you should do next, depending what you did with the student before. uh, the third level, which I think that a lot of people just overlook, is to spot the actual motivation that the student has and linking it to the studying process. And this is something that doesn't have to do anything with teaching techniques or actually having experience of teaching. This all comes down to critical thinking, um, and critical thinking and uh, how do I put this? Communication skill. Let's call that, because the better you communicate with a student, the faster you will realize what is the actual motivation that student has. Sometimes it is very obvious. Um, for example, student wants to pass IELTS, but of course this is not the actual motivation. This is just the requirement for his for realization of the actual goal, which is moving to another country. And still, you can go deeper. The actual motivation here is to change the level of life that he has. Maybe you can go even deeper. He wants to um, persuade a career of something that just not it's not achievable in this country, or whatever it is. Sometimes it's not so obvious, and I want to give an example of a student. Let's call him Ruslan. I just don't want to give a real name away. Um, he came to me with a pretty high level. I wouldn't say he was fluent, but he had a very proper upper intermediate level. He could do a lot of things. He could travel easily. He could read books, watch movies. Um, and his initial goal, what he told me was, I want to give sales presentations better to my foreign partners. He worked in an international company, and he did that from time to time, like once a month. On a regular basis, he was giving sales presentations. Um, when I say sales presentations, I mean that he was presenting the strategy of sales for the next quarter, for the next months, of the products under his division. I actually don't remember the details because when he came, I thought, okay, we're gonna do some business English. We're gonna practice presenting something. Um, we'll work a lot on vocabulary. We'll work a lot on vocabulary. We'll do obvious things that uh, you know how to do that because you conducted lessons before. Uh, uh, you have books. Everything is ready. But when we started doing that, it turned out that this student was actually what I call maybe an example of a very good student. He was diligent. He was persistent in doing homework. Um, he actually discovered a lot of things on his own. He was very independent. He didn't ask for help immediately. He always tried to. So he actually knew how to learn, which was very good and helped me a lot. I didn't. I wouldn't say I worked really hard. I mean, it wasn't difficult to teach him. Um, but then I thought, why does he need me then? What's my role here? Because I really wanted to help him, but he see what's important is that when you work with people and you're the teacher, students can't. It's very difficult for them to realize what the progress they have. It all comes to the teacher, and they believe the teacher that do I have any progress? I want to feel it. What should I do to feel it? Um, and it's a broad topic. We'll have a discussion on that in one of the meetings on how to test students and how to check their progress. Um, but here the student was frustrated, but he didn't know why. So you, as a teacher, should work on the third level, and you should spot the actual motivation he has, why he's not satisfied with the level of the language that he has right now. And what happened is that I talked to the person, I mean, to the student, um, on like where else does he use the language? Um, and he actually had some foreign colleagues in his office, some expats that worked with him, and they had like a little, let's say, little group of. So they went to bar on Fridays, and well, they invited him as well, but he felt himself very off in this little community because the way they were speaking, well, they were native speakers. It turned out that everything that actually put him to find a tutor uh, to learn to continue learning the language, even though he had a very high level, was that he wanted to speak more naturally, and he wanted to be able to make jokes and to discuss some cultural realities, cultural phenomena, um, like TV shows, movies, books, which he didn't know how to do because he just lacked the experience um, of doing that. Uh, his academic language was, I mean, academic English was on point. Um, his actual sales presentations were very good. And once I realized what I should help him with, I restructured my lessons on in a way that we talked a lot about. We started working with real English more. We we even tried to make jokes in English, uh, which was very fun. How can you push yourself to make a joke? But we managed to do that. Um, Once we started doing this, he actually gained a real motivation, and because he saw what actually pushes him to learn the language, to improve it, and he started paying more attention to that, how he does it, and when he succeeded, he started glowing. I mean, he actually realized that he has progress, that the thing that he does with the teacher, they actually help. And it wouldn't have happened if I didn't try to spot the actual motivation that the student had. Because these first two levels, they can be learned. You can learn techniques, you can practice them, you can, it will eventually happen through practice, through experience, through conducting lessons, even observing other lessons. But spotting the actual motivation, linking to the studying process, finding the way or the situation where the students will use the language and they will actually feel that they're using the language, not learning. I like to, like a little conclusion. The first thing you should realize as a tutor that you don't teach the language, you show how to use the tool. Well, English is a tool for doing something, and you always need to find for doing what. You should help the student finding this, the actual goal, the actual sphere where he or she can use the English as a tool, which will then help the students in other spheres. And in the case of Ruslan, it was the communication with colleagues. So I guess he became more popular. I guess he improved his relationship at work. Maybe it even helped his promotion. I don't know. He was very thankful, but after the lessons we stopped any sort of communication. But I'm pretty sure that it affected his life, not in the terms of knowing the language better, but in the terms of improving his life in general. So um, yeah, this is the conclusion of the first video lesson. The home task will be given in the description of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.